executive order related to COVID-19. In-person attendance of tonight's BZA meeting will be limited. We have arranged a live stream of meetings so those interested can do it from home. This meeting is slated to start at 7 p.m. You can view the meeting at our website at cedarlakein.org/view-town-meetings. Then click on View Broadcast under the live broadcast. You must join the meeting through this link to participate. Due to the unique nature of this meeting, the town of Cedar Lake will only accept public comments submitted electronically. If you have a question or comment about an item on this agenda, please email that question or comment to michelle.baker@cedarlakein.org. Ms. Baker will ensure that all submissions are shared with the board members and that submissions will also be entered into the minutes of the meeting. Please keep your comments civil and constructive to the policy and issues on that agenda. Roll call, please. Here.
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 Present.
David Austin.
Present.
Tim Kubiak.
Here.
Michelle Baker.
Here.
Tammy Gilbert here.
So please rise to the pledge of the flag. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of
of the
America,
United States of America,
allegiance
and to the republic for which
one
it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty, justice.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us today, both in person and remotely. As this is a new policy, we hope that you would give us a little grace in working out all the details. We'll do our best to hear everybody and get everybody's comments read, and any remonstrators heard in a timely fashion. To the board members, there is a delay usually with the questions and the video and comments. So there may be some dramatic pauses. That's for everybody to be able to hear everything that we said in conclusion and be able to comment off of that. You guys have any questions?
No, no, not this time.
When we do get to remonstrators, we'll have the remonstrators in the room first. We'll ask Ms. Baker for anything electronically that may have happened through the video and or email. And we'll also ask if there's anybody outside that has any remonstration that they can come in and say what they need to say. That being said,
Good job, good job.
reading the minutes of March 12, 2020 public meeting, are there any additions or corrections?
No,
no, sir.
Seeing none, need a motion to approve.
so moved. I'll second, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Capura, a second by Mr. Bungie to accept the meetings. Check the meeting minutes. Roll call.
Nick Rakuto.
Yes.
Jerry Wilking.
Yes.
John Ford.
Yes.
Jeff Bungie.
Yes.
Gary Piper.
Yes, motion carries 5-0. Well, business, item number 1, daily special use variance. Owner, Cedar Lake Commercial, 9700 Industrial Drive in Cedar Lake. Petitioner, Richard Bailey, 12841 Wicker Avenue in Cedar Lake. Vicinity of the same. The request is a special use variance to allow the petitioner to operate auto exchange, a used auto dealer in a B3 use in a B2 zoning district. This was deferred from the March 12, 2020 public meeting. Councilor Austin.
The legals were in order when this matter was introduced to you in March, and they still remain.
Thank you. We have a petitioner for this item this evening. Can you come up to the mic, please state your name and address.
Richard Daly.
My name is Tom Bellender, and we are partners in business.
Okay. and go ahead with your request.
Yeah, I guess I'm really not, haven't been to one of these meetings, so we're really not sure,
Yeah.
what to say, to
To
be honest.
give us an idea of why you're here, what you're looking for, what your plans are for your business that you're proposing to put in the facility.
Basically, trying to get a dealer license, sell some cars.
So you're going to be selling cars at that facility. Are you repairing them as well?
Not really. Maybe light stuff, changing fenders and stuff like that. But no, not gonna open a shop. No, nothing like that.
Do you have an idea of approximately how many vehicles you'd be both parking and selling?
Well, I would like to start out with maybe 10, 15.
How many parking spaces are available there?
I could put up to, what do you say?
Well, we have on our lot plan, I think it's probably, I think it's around 14 or 16 cars for sale. Let's see.
Plus, we still have extra room for customer parking.
Right, 14 places for displaying used vehicles in the front. We have 16 places marked out for customer parking, 2 which would be handicapped. Probably a lot of the sales will be online sales, hopefully. And we hope to sell maybe 10 to 20 cars a month of that.
20 employees, you anticipate having
2 to 3 in the beginning.
in hours of operation?
What did I put in there? Monday through Friday, 9 to 5.
Anything else?
No, it's not.
Mr. Kubiak, do you have anything to say?
No, not really, not at this time.
Can I get a question in?
Yes.
In the storage in the back, what's the capacity? How many cars we are allowed to keep in the back? Because we got a huge storage yard. I mean, I don't want to make it into a junkyard and nothing like that, but I just want to get
That's
it.
why you're here to determine that.
Yeah.
Is there a fence back there?
Yeah, it's totally included.
Any other board comments?
Those 30 parking places will be up front,
Yes, sir.
14 for cars for sale and 16 for customers.
Yes, sir.
Mhm.
Do you expect 16 customers in there at one time?
No.
Hopefully,
way.
but.
I'm supposed to say yes.
Well, I'm trying to be honest here.
Yeah, I'm familiar with the place.
Anything else from the board?
Got nothing right now.
Nothing right now.
I just, without dimensions on this property, talking about 90 feet just on that one side from the sign north. That's what we're, 10-foot spaces, is that what we're doing on this? Yeah.
I did work with them to update this list of what they wanted and where everything was going to be. They do have a large, pretty scaled drawing that looks pretty, but didn't really have any of the dimensions on there. That's why they took it and made it smaller and also included this survey to show where their parking spaces and stuff were. And also on his list that he updated, he put that all of the parking spots would be the 10 by 20 and then the handicapped would be 20 by 20.
You're not the owners of this property?
No,
You're just gonna rent it?
renting, right.
So there's gonna be no updates to the parking lot, the building or anything?
Well, the parking lot needs sealing and stuff, but the building is fine. But the parking lot's gonna need a little bit of work, sealing and stuff. 'Cause it's that some part of it is kind of like cracked up a little bit.
Is the ceiling gonna take care of that parking lot, Tim? Okay.
Like there, ceiling repair, striping,
Yeah, that's about it.
but it does, it's not terrible, but it does need some patch.
Definitely.
But
Is it-
it's not very drastic.
I'm just trying to compare it to the last place. It was on that side of the road to the north where the weeds were growing through the blacktop and nothing was done.
I don't think it's quite,
It's not that bad.
there are some spots that need maybe some asphalt, and then the whole thing probably needs to be seal coated. But it's, overall, it's in decent condition, but it does need a little bit of work on the lot, on the asphalt itself.
You're gonna have a lot of signage and lighting on the building, in 41.
There's lights there already,
There's also
all around
an
the
existing sign.
parking lot, yeah,
That
and on the
probably-
building, so.
The vehicles that are brought in, you get them from a wholesaler or from an auction,
Option.
how do they come in? By way of one at a time, or are they on a car hauler?
No, one at a time.
Yes, so they'll be loaded and unloaded on your property, not on the road.
Yes, sir.
Mhm.
Because we're talking on cars, so.
And if we did have a carrier come in, which we generally don't, there is plenty of room to, in the front and the back, to unload it, so it wouldn't cause any
Hang on,
problems.
hang on a minute. Didn't you just say the cars will be brought in one at a time?
Well, that's.
Yeah, but
He
if we
said
buy
they'd be
car,
unloaded on their property.
yeah,
Yes,
but
so-
sometimes we buy a car like in Indianapolis and we just go online and get somebody to tow it.
Oh, okay.
And, you know, they could go, the back is so big, you could go in the back and actually just go around in a circle and come back out.
But what I was saying is, in general, most of the cars we will pick up ourselves and drive there. And then there are occasionally, not very often, but we do have some cars coming from like Indy, and they'll come in like in a 3-car carrier, but there's plenty of room there for them to unload it there without causing a problem.
Because unloading on 41, as you can imagine, is.
Oh, right.
is-
Yeah, no, there's,
is deadly.
yeah, but there's plenty of room to pull in for a semi or a small truck, whatever it is.
Okay, I have no more questions. Mr. President.
You said your hours were 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, so you're not open on Saturday?
As I really didn't put that down, I really wasn't sure. As of this point, you know, we've kind of operated Monday through Friday because most of our sales are online. So if we wanted to change in the future, we'd have to come back in or,
If that's part of your request is to only be open Monday through Friday, then yes, if you're going to amend that, then you would have to come back.
okay, so,
Gonna go for like a half a day or something.
yeah, I mean, can we add that now?
That would be the time.
Okay, so could we do like Saturday,
8 to like 1 or something.
8 to 1, yeah.
Eight to 1 or 9 to 1?
8 to 1.
Is there any other board comments at this time?
Have you addressed these parking lot improvements with the landlord?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and that's something that's going to be your control to take care of, or are they going to do that for you?
It's probably gonna be, we have to take care of that ourselves.
I have no further questions, Mr. Chairman, at this time.
I'm good.
Regarding the rear vehicle storage area, how many cars are you proposing to be in that storage area?
Well, that's why I was asking, what's my limit, you know? Cause you know, when you buy and sell car, sometimes you get 1 and 2 car over, you know, and I don't want to like exceed the limit, you know? So I was trying to find out how much we're allowed to have.
I mean,
It,
if-
in this zoning district, you're not allowed to have any. So that's why
In the
that's part of the
storage,
variance.
I mean, if we're going by what a parking spot would be, we'd have to figure out how many.
They have 30 parking spots, 30,
Not including the vehicles.
right, so I think that, I mean, if they have, 30 cars is more than adequate for that
piece of property, I don't think they need to be storing extra cars in the back. I mean, they're not working, they just said they're not working on them.
No,
So why do you need more than that?
Because sometimes we buy them, we have to hold them to send them to shop to get like work done on them if we
You
have.
buy wrecked cars?
Not necessarily red car, but sometimes you buy cars and they don't run, you know, and you have to send them out to get them.
so on the lot plan I put on here, there's area C, which is vehicle storage area.
Yeah.
Which we just put that on there. Basically, that would be maybe a holding area for a few cars. You know, giving us time to set up, you know, repairs with other shops and so forth, and it would be a holding area to get them cleaned and ready for sale.
So is it a few cars, 2 or 3, or is it 20? And you guys gotta tell us.
Yeah, probably not 20, but I mean,
Yeah,
what do you think?
10,
10 maybe?
12 cars.
Yeah, we don't really keep a lot of cars like that around because it's just money sitting around.
So that's in the fenced-in portion?
Yeah, in the back,
Correct.
which you cannot see nothing from the street.
Is that paved,
Gravel.
That's gravel. Yeah.
gravel?
Yes, sir.
What's the condition of that fence over there?
We're gonna have to probably patch it. It's like a couple of the boards are missing.
What's your opinion of the fence?
I have not been by there as priest put the fence in the raised condition.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of sounds to me like we're leaning more towards a auto salvage, than auto sales.
No,
I mean, auto sales, cleaning the car, and then stacking 20 of them up to send them out and rebuild them and do different things is a whole other animal than selling a car.
No,
we have to have an area to put the cars that we are, you know, inspecting to see what they need. I mean, in the back of that building, there's an area where we use just the detail. So before we bring it in there, we have to have a couple of spaces. We wouldn't want to put them in the front. We have to have a couple of spaces to park cars to get them ready to go. And we're not rebuilders. But, you know, every car needs a little bit of something.
What are you buying? Are you buying like a salvage car?
No.
No.
We really don't do that.
Basically, what he trying to say, when we go to the auction and we buy 4 or 5 cars, you can't just put them on the lot because everybody at the auction trying to unload their problem. So when you buy a car, you bid on it, you don't know what you're getting. So you have to have somebody put a few cars so you could go through the inspection before you put them on the lots, because you don't want customer come back crying. That's bad for business.
And how many times a month do you buy an auction car?
We don't have no set time. We just looking if you see.
On average, twice a month, 4 times a month, once a week?
Yeah, a couple times a week if it's necessary.
Couple times a week?
Yeah, but sometimes we buy one time. It depends. If you see a good deal, you jump on it, you know.
The auction to buy 2 or 3 cars at one time, and then the next week not buy any.
And some cars we buy, you can just send it to the next auction and sell it back, and you don't have to bring it home.
So what's the maximum amount of cars you would have there, per se? You have 16 spots up front, not counting the 14 for your employees or customers or what have you. And if you had 10 in the back for what you're saying, so 26 would be the maximum cars?
That's a fair number.
Yeah, yeah. Really,
So you
if
had
I,
it where your area A was 14 for display, so it'd be 14 for display, 16 for with handicap for regular spots, and then
24. So I mean, so you would not go over that. So if you sold, say you had a good week and sold 5 cars, you'd go out and look for 5 more to replace them.
yes, sir.
But if you didn't sell any and you seen a deal on 3 cars, you wouldn't buy them because you have no place to put them.
Well, if that's the case, yeah, then we'll find someplace like a storage yard, someplace else. You could buy them and stock them over there.
And
So
not put them on that property.
yeah,
We're just trying to keep it from becoming,
a mess. Yeah,
exactly, you know, an eyesore and
Yeah.
overcrowded and
Right.
if your
a
needs
junkyard
change,
or whatever. you
Yeah,
know.
there'd be no selling parts and stuff like that. They're tearing cars apart. No, we won't be doing anything in the front uh, where we'll be selling our cars, that will look bad. We won't leave anything, flat tires, anything that looks bad. No, we're not gonna do anything like that. So. That's just-
Well, our goal is we don't want somebody to drive by and say, oh, that's a junk car lot, so we're gonna go buy from the next guy.
What's the price range of the vehicles you're gonna be selling?
Try to stay with what people can afford, depends on what the area requires. If you get people coming in looking for $10,000 car, we'll get those. If they come in looking for $5,000 car, we'll just gotta feel it out and see what would sell.
So you're thinking 10 and under is what you're thinking?
Yes, sir.
Probably, yeah.
The other thing is too, on the fenced-in area, we do not like to see anything stacked or piled or stored above the top of the fence. So in other words, if you're driving down the 41 there,
Right.
we don't want to be able to look in there and see a stack of tires or I'm just saying,
Right.
whatever it may be. So keep that in mind, that we want to keep it down so the public doesn't see what's going on back there. Just saying.
Well, we had license before, so we pretty much know, we don't want to go against the grid, we don't have you guys to come out there messing with us, so we don't want to do nothing that we're not supposed to be doing.
Everything will be fairly well kept and very neat.
Somebody had mentioned, maybe me, had mentioned anything you're going to be doing to the building.
Right.
Anything that needs to be done to the building, are you obligated to do that, or is the landlord obligated to do
It
that?
would be the landlord.
Huh?
It would be the landlord, not me.
But the landlord's not gonna fix the parking lot.
Well, I did mention it to them and they said, we'll work with you. But basically, usually when they tell us that, they want me to fix it. So that's something I'm gonna have to talk to them about it. But if I had to do it, we'll do it.
So you really don't have that part of this ironed out either, correct?
No, I plan to do it myself because I'm not gonna wait on them. So we'll plan to do it ourselves.
What do you do with all your waste oil?
Well, we don't,
You're gonna have containers outside in the storage area for waste oil? You're gonna have it inside? You gonna have
there
a
is
waste oil furnace? I mean, what are you gonna do about that?
there
kind
is
of stuff?
a giant plastic container there already for waste oil. And it would be behind the building, there's a overhead with extra space and it's got a roof. So we'll keep it under there behind the building.
Okay. So you are doing oil changes?
Well, if like I said, if we're buying a car and we need to, change the oil or something, if it's emergency, gotta go. But we have other shops where we'll send all the stuff to get done.
All right, so we gotta clear this up. Either you're going to
I
do service on the vehicle.
I apologize, Mr. President.
No, that's okay. You're going to do service on the vehicles, including oil changes, or you're not?
Well, we don't want to do that, but if
That
we
does
do,
change the calculus.
we would like to come back and get a license if we have to ask for a permit for it or something, if we decide to do that, but we don't plan to do that right now.
Okay, so your request right now does not include service,
No, sir.
service, mechanical services.
No, sir.
Not even on your own vehicles?
That's what I was gonna ask you. What about, I have a lot of old cars. What about my cars?
I'm sorry. I'm talking about the vehicles that you're preparing to sell.
No, we send those out to get, get them inspected and stuff like that for them to sell. We strictly want to just sell.
We just need to be very clear for your business that we're not gonna be doing mechanical service,
No,
right?
mechanical.
It's just that the only vehicle, air quotes, service will be your detailing portion of it.
Correct.
Correct?
Yes, sir.
You don't have to worry about any oil retention or anything.
No.
No, there was already one there. That's why I told him that, but we didn't put it there. It was already there.
Okay.
This is not particularly clear.
Okay.
So that's why I'm asking.
Anything else from the board? At this time?
No, sir, not right now.
You You guys may have a seat for a brief moment.
Okay.
We'll call for remonstrators. So.
First call for remonstrators will be here in the building. Are there any remonstrators for or against this variance? Are there any remonstrators for or against this variance?
Nobody outside?
Seeing none in the building,
We're just
will you
going.
please ask outside if there are any remonstrators for this item?
Oh, but nobody outside.
There's nobody outside with remonstrators for or against this variance. Ms. Baker, are there any correspondence online via email or anything else?
Not at this time, sir, no.
Bob still with us?
Yes,
Okay, just checking, Bob.
No, I haven't.
okay.
Thank you.
We're gonna let that sit for a minute, so if there's any. Ms. Baker, did anything come in?
No, sir.
Seeing none, the public portion for this item is closed. We have the petitioners come back up, please. Is there any other building department comments?
I guess my concerns are just the extent of the damage and stuff being brought in and taken out. And where is it going? And I mean, bringing a car to wash it and wax and sell it is one thing, but bringing stuff that's broken and damaged and leaking oil and antifreeze and stuff in the back lot there. I mean, it sounds like you're more into that type of a business than you are used car sales.
Well, we don't buy nothing like that. We don't buy hot hits cars because then, you lose money. We try to get the cleanest cars we can.
Right, because we can move them much faster.
Where do you take them? Just get fixed.
Well, my friend has a shop in South Chicago Heights, and he fixed all our cars when we was in Crete.
So I guess I just don't understand the holding of damage. If you buy a car, it needs to go here to get fixed, why don't you take it to the shop?
Sometimes they backed up, and you have to wait a day or two.
And sometimes we need to evaluate what we need to do to the car other than clean it. So we have to have some place to do that and put those cars there to be able to look at the cars and distinguish or to decide what we need to do to them.
It's just that we've had a lot of used car sales in town, and this is you're the first guys to present this type of activity.
It would be but all kinds of that pretty much. You have to have, a lot of the stuff you get at the auction and that's why it's at the auction is because, it may have, maybe the window will roll down or the fender scratched or whatever. So that you have to have a place to put those cars until you get them to the body shop or the mechanic or the oil change or the tires.
So how many square foot is this building?
960.
Gotta be bigger than that.
That's what it says on the,
Which it shows on the plan.
It's gotta be bigger.
28 by 40.
So it's 960
Yeah,
square
90.
feet.
It's 96 across the front. Well, I'm,
So is that 40 across the front?
this is 60-foot double man door, 60 inch. Oh, 60 inch, that's what that is. It's a
They may
walk-in
have-
door.
They may have, yeah.
Okay.
Well, it looks like there's 40 feet of frontage along 41 from the plat.
It's 120 in the front.
Because there's 90 foot where the car space is, just in the front. It doesn't include the space for the sign and doesn't include,
Yeah, it appears on here that there's a whole nother addition to the back since this survey was done.
I have a question for the building department. If you guys had a wish list of what could be done to get this property cleaned up and, address some of the issues, other than the parking lot and fence, is there anything else? Lighting. Okay. Lighting's okay.
What was there, lawnmower business, so they weren't open at night.
Right. So what do you guys plan to do to address, winter months where it's getting dark at 4 o'clock at night and you get your open till 5 o'clock and the lighting situation for that parking lot?
We have excellent lighting. There's poles to the north, another one to the west,
Both to the
and then we have a light on the building. So we got plenty.
There's probably about 4 or 5 lights running across the front of the property. And I'm just guessing, I didn't count them, but something like that.
And they would just be on during business hours? Dark?
Yeah, probably.
Wouldn't be on at night?
Is it a problem to leave a light on at night, or?
It's something we consider.
Well, that would be good, because then people could still see the business at night.
Well, I would say we would consider it. Not saying we would guarantee it, right? We discuss these things when it comes to these.
The whole point of this is for us being a town to be able to put reasonable conditions, enforceable conditions on your request.
Mhm.
And that's because lessons learned and so. Yes, sir. Please.
In furtherance of your duties and responsibilities under Title 30, Section 2, Sub F of our code, you are charged with that will ensure that proposed use does not adversely impact the community. Specifically, such that the establishment, maintenance, or operation of the special use or exception will not be detrimental to or endanger public health, safety, comfort, morals, general welfare, and in accordance with the comprehensive plan. And two, and probably more importantly on this matter, will not be injurious to the use and enjoyment of other property in the immediate vicinity for purposes already permitted or substantially diminish and impair property values within the town. This is a prominent piece of property. We all see it when we drive the road. We're going to go by it 1,000,000 times in the next year, all of us. It's visible. It's important commercial property, if you will, prospectively. The town has a plan and has worked with the developer on the east side of this property for road or intersection right out improvements. In fact, that commitment has not only been made, but it's being engineered as we talk. So there's a significant amount of development going on, and there's a pretty important piece of property that these gentlemen are talking about. A lot of maybes and not so certains and unknowns and the like have occurred tonight. It's your call as to how you view that and weigh that. I would suggest to you, though, in context of what you're charged with, that the burden may not have been met. So I want to suggest to, based upon the law, based upon your zoning code, where we're at is where we're at. So, Mr. Oster, would this be something that you would consider some kind of use commitment, if anything is even considered here? Some way or method in zoning commitment is one of those ways to assure that all of the bullet details are not only picked up, but that gives the building department enforcement key. Yes. Maybe do you want to explain to these gentlemen how that would work if that was something that how what the protocol would be? Well, that's something that actually I need some filling in on too, how these work. They're permitted by the code as I've explained in the past under Title 3674. It's in 1600 series, 2000 series. Document that puts all of the conditions, the very specific condition, not the guesswork, not the, I don't know, not the, parameters and the like, into a recordable document that runs with the land. Problem here, Nick, is they don't own the land, they're tenants. So that's a problem. I would also like to suggest to you, these are mature gentlemen, you can tell, they're
No,
they're not,
kind of a
they're
kid.
not young men, mature men. We don't know if they know how to do this. We don't have a clue about their credentials, past background. Not suggesting anything bad here, guys. Suggesting we don't know what you do and the like. And that may be something you want to vet also. Background, references, history, experience, knowledge about doing this. First time, last time.
We can ask those questions.
You may, you're here, which is why I read the statute or the ordinance, so that you knew what the expanse of your authority is. Okay.
All right, is this a new business or are you moving this business from, you mentioned Creek?
Well, we closed down in Creek in January because the landlord gave us like he told us we could reopen, but then he bought the place and he said after a month before we do send our license, right? He gave us said we gotta go in case he's gonna do something else. with the
So
building.
you're moving an existing
No,
business,
that one is already canceled. So this is a new one.
so it's a new business. How long were you in the other business was the same as this?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
And how long were you in that business?
4 years.
We were at that particular place for about probably 4 or 5 years, I don't know exactly. But we've been doing this for about 20 or 30 years, a long time.
Okay, so we didn't have a license. We didn't have a license of an Indian before.
We had a wholesale license in Indiana for
Wholesale,
a
yeah.
long time, because basically we just, pick the cars up, clean them up, sold them to other dealers, ran them back to the auction and so forth.
So where do you buy them from? You buy them from like the Dyer auction?
Lot from Dyer, we love Dyer.
How about in Harvey, that auction?
No, I don't like that
That's more like a
I don't
scam.
either.
Yeah. But more like the bigger auctions, like Greater.
And where else would you get them from?
There's a place out in,
Car dealerships?
yeah, sometimes, yeah, we have friends that,
You go to the car dealerships and say what they can't move, used cars, and then you buy them?
Exactly. There's stuff that they just don't want,
Yeah, I understand that part. Where else would you get them from? I'm just trying to see what quality of car you're getting. If you could get something from a car dealership, it usually doesn't need a fender or what have you. It might have a scratch or something that could be rubbed out, but same thing with the auction. I mean, you're gonna have the car's gonna be kind of spiffed up
Mhm.
to go through that auction.
Right.
And so, I mean, so where you get your inventory is crucial about how we decide here, because we don't want to see a lot of less desirable cars or vehicles coming in.
So,
Well, like I said, we try to sell, depends on the area we're in, we try to sell what we like. So we have 5 $10,000 car, and we got 5 $6,000 car, and those are selling faster. Especially little economy car. That's what we're selling now. So we kind of try to go with the flow, because if you sell a junk car, nobody ain't gonna come back, or they're not gonna tell nobody about you.
Where were you guys located in Crete? I'm kind of familiar with that town. Just trying to get an idea of what the business model.
your name looks like you're familiar with that town.
Yeah.
Right before you get to Baltimore.
Where, I'm sorry?
And was it Chicago Road? Right before you get to
Do
Baltimore.
you know where track storage was?
Yeah.
Right in front of there.
Oh, okay.
And the guy that bought that property, he just wanted to move into that front building
Okay.
for himself, for his own business.
Mhm.
So that's really the only reason why we moved out of there.
Okay.
Michelle, you had mentioned additions since that survey picture we have.
Yes, actually Tammy found this survey from an old project that was done years ago. It appears that it is,
And
quite old. I'm not exactly sure.
and you and Kim are both here, and I'm going to ask, are we fairly certain that these additions were all permitted? The gates, the fences, all that stuff was put in, was all permitted around that property, or We don't know, or
We do not.
I guess would be 50/50, or
I do not.
as a rule, this board is very, very detail oriented, if you haven't figured that out. And the word probably, I heard numerous times.
Okay.
I'm having trouble with that. And, just
Well,
saying.
to be honest with you, things have kind of been up in the air from the very beginning. So it's kind of hard to nail things down
Yeah.
when you kind of really don't know what's going on.
Yeah, well, it is tough, and the situation seems a little fast and loose with your landlord. That's my opinion. You don't know what they're gonna fix, what they're not gonna fix.
That's why I will take the responsibility on to fix what needs to be fixed on the parking lot or the fence. Actually, I was planning to paint the fence and replace rotten wood in the fence, anything that was bad or missing. I was planning to replace those and paint the fence, but I need to know if I'm going to get a license, because I already waste over $10,000 in rent.
You're waiting on a car license?
No, I'm waiting to see what you guys say.
Okay,
Okay, so I've been paying for months and I lost all that money already, so that's part of business, when you want to get a dealer's license, first you gotta find a spot, first you get a check with the city, see if they're gonna let you have one.
I got you.
So I'm over like, probably I would say $12,000 in rent already, and I ain't making no money there yet.
Well, part of the problem was that the property wasn't titled correctly or something like that. And I guess they had to go in, well, that's kind of what's,
Yeah,
when I said things have been up in the air,
yeah,
I guess that was a problem as far as getting the variance or whatever. So I guess they had to retitle the property or something like that. I don't know exactly because I didn't do it, but
It is separated.
that's why it's kind of been all over the place.
It was combined. with
So,
all of it.
I was absent last month. So you guys specific instructions?
never heard this.
They weren't here.
I don't think they were here, so it was
They
just,
applied and were at the March meeting and they
Okay.
did not attend. And then the April
So
meeting
it
was
is
canceled.
old business that it was supposed to be last month.
It was supposed to be March. I mean, they were on for the March meeting, but they did not attend at that meeting. So they,
I just want to make sure I
Deferred.
wasn't missing anything.
Well, because that paper, that whatever they did, as far as the deed or property, I don't know exactly what they did. That stuff was not done.
Yeah, because when I come here, they told me in the office that they were waiting on Schilling. And when I go back to Schilling, they said they send it over. So I didn't know whose word to take.
that was in February.
Yeah.
It's separated now.
Mhm.
As far as any other board discussions, I guess the broad question is, do we have enough here to be comfortable taking any action, or do we need more, or do we have enough? Is it clear from our discussion, their intentions, and requests? I guess that's a question open to.
This is a recommendation to the town council.
I think we have enough. I think we just need to clarify what they can do so that it's not in the records, that they can have a total of 24 spots for, correct me if I'm wrong, 24 spots for car storage,
14 for display and 10 for storage is what they requested.
correct? Okay, and then they'll have 16 customer with 2 of those being handicapped. Okay, their work hours will be Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, Saturdays, 8 to 1, no Sundays. There will be no mechanical or service work performed, period. Now, clean up of a car, vacuum it out, wax it, spit shine it, whatever you got to do, deodorizer, whatever, is normal for that type of business. We do not want to see any junk cars stored.
Absolutely not.
Improvements to the person.
Pardon me?
Improvements to the person.
fence included?
Of course, improvements to the parking lot and fence, you have to have a solid parking lot so you can get the cars, whether they're inventory or customers in and out of there. And the fence has to be upgraded so that it looks presentable, so it's not offensive to your neighbors or anybody going down the street.
Okay.
Right, so I guess that it kind of led right into my question. In order for us to make a decision for a recommendation, is what specifically are those criteria? And as Mr. Shapiro laid out quite well, was what I heard that your request was. Is there anything in there that is outside of what your request was?
No, I think you pretty much covered it.
The only question I have is, as far as we were talking about repairing the fence, does that mean repair it, replace what needs to be replaced, or paint it, or
Upgrade the
Just-
fence to
just presentable?
presentable, usable.
If you were their neighbor, what would you do?
I would say
I would
probably
go-
needs
I
repair.
mean,
If you're gonna put
I
conditions-
think, go ahead, Tim.
I was gonna say, if you're gonna put conditions on what needs to be done, I think that myself or somebody needs to evaluate the property, know the condition, or know what you're gonna ask, because we don't know if the parking lot needs to be repaved, or, I mean, I didn't get any pictures of this property, but I like, I mean, we don't have any idea of what the conditions there are right now.
So we would have to take our building department, based on our building department's recommendations, bring in the property up to. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying we should defer for a month and get these things ironed out before you make a decision. So they know what's gonna be expected of them, or else they're gonna be, I mean, if it could be minimal, or it could be, gotta repave the lot, and then it's, you know, I mean, I don't want that to be on me. I'd like to report back the conditions so you guys can make.
Well, in my mind, I'm basically on the same page you guys are. I want the place to look good as it can be. When somebody walking in to buy a car, they want to say, oh, this is a junk shop. We don't want to buy nothing here.
So does that mean that you're going to repave the parking lot? You're going to replace the fence
We're
or?
going to fix it. I'm not sure if we're gonna pave the whole thing, but we're going to fix what's wrong with it and save it. And then maybe you guys will come take a look at it. Let me know if it's okay.
So I think what Mr. Kubiak is saying is he's inspected a lot of buildings in parking lots and stuff in town. He can give you an idea of what that would be, and if it's way over here, that may not be as appealing to you to where if it's here somewhere in the middle. I think what he's suggesting to protect you a little bit is before you say, yeah, I'll repair it, the building department comes and says, terrible, then what? So
And then I guess we'll have to pave it.
Mr. President,
Mr. President,
yes, sir.
I'm sorry. I would also note, and maybe if the ultimate action from the BZA is to defer or review further, the owner is not, the petitioner is. Perhaps you want to require, we're talking about capital improvements for the appropriate code compliant use of this property. That probably requires a landlord owner. But I find it interesting, we don't have an owner signature on this petition. The petitioner who signed in the owner's spot.
regarding our obligations and the listing that you had mentioned earlier, Mr. Austin, none of this information for me has proven any of that. I mean, we have one picture here, probablys, et cetera, et cetera. There's, I don't think you have anything there for me that I could even remotely make a favorable recommendation to the council. I mean, there's too many unanswered questions, and you know that, and the questions for you regarding your obligations to the landlord are vague.
Mhm.
So that's all I wanted to say.
Here's my opinion on it. There's been a lot of indecisiveness, it seems like, from you guys, and I hope you're not just telling us what we want to hear rather than what you really plan on doing. That's one thing that I've gotten, and I just, unless we really pin this down, I just don't want to see, the building department or whoever's going to enforce these things have their hands full with this situation.
Okay. Can
I
ask
also,
something?
if it ends up going, if this ends up going down the road where Tim is inspecting the property for a list of to-dos, I want to make sure every piece of that that's been added on to has all been permitted.
That's not a task that's easily achieved. I can think it would. I mean,
I don't think that's what he said. He's concerned about you having to do their work.
No, what
He's
I'm
saying
concerned
that
about is
everything
there's, Michelle mentioned a lot of additions since that original survey.
No.
You can't go look at this property and there's not a file of things that were approved or, because you can see what was been approved and you can see what's there.
But that could have been done in 1950. I mean, I have no
1950.
idea.
Those buildings not that old.
I'm just saying.
That won't work. Okay.
we can look at the condition.
Sure.
We'll look at the folder that's back there. See if
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, they may be getting a building that's got a bunch of additions here that were never permitted in the first place.
You suggesting illegality?
I'm trying to be thorough.
But that's not, that wouldn't fall back on them, that would fall back on the owner of the building today
Yeah.
to deal with. I think what these gentlemen are here for is to get approval to bring a business into our town. And I think that's a good idea. I think we have a few questions. I think what I stated before is correct, and they agree with that. I think Tim is correct by wanting to go take a look and see if there's a bad foundation or how much repair, if it's a $50,000 repair to the parking lot, or if it's $5,000, or if the fence that we don't see is falling down, what have you. I know I was in the back of that building in that fenced-in yard, and back then, that was a few years ago, it didn't look all that bad, but I wasn't looking at it with that eye. So, I mean, I think everything to date is good, except for a few questions Tim has. And I think I would like to have him report that back to us and to these gentlemen as to what they, pardon? Well, if the landlord's going to have to pay for some of this, then the landlord should be here. If these gentlemen are responsible for the repairs, then I don't see why the landlord would have to be here, because they have to square it away with the landlord as to what they're doing. But, I mean, if the board so desires the landlord here, then I'm not going to say no.
I appreciate that. I think landlord and Tim going out and taking a look and seeing what needs to be done and deferring it to the next one.
David, is there a precedence for that we should, in your esteemed position, something that we as a board should have the order here? You think that helps cover us as far as?
Our procedures, Jeff, are that an owner and a petitioner make application. That did not occur. Essentially, an approval to conduct business under condition. So our procedures were not necessarily completed here, and they should be. And if they are, the owner belongs here.
Is it that?
So here's what I'm understanding about the board, or the feeling, is that everything that we talked about tonight, I think we got a lot of the I don't know and what ifs out of the way. I think that those need cleaned up and concise in a subsequent meeting. That's what I'm feeling. Also, we got the impression that a landlord would be good to have here to also be able to hear, and then our building department would like to take note of it. So what I'm hearing with all those is that probably a request for deferral from you guys would be in your best interest, so that you guys can put together
A business plan.
a concise business plan from whatever you've heard and learned here tonight, plus whatever else you may come up with, to give our building department a chance to also inspect and for you to make notification to it. I'll ask my fellow board members if that's an accurate description of kind of how everybody's feeling.
Yes, sir.
Mhm.
Yes.
You guys got any questions about any of that, or?
No, I don't think so, I guess.
So, we have a couple options. You can request a deferral, which means, you'll be on the agenda for next month's regular meeting. If you don't request a deferral, we can take action and make it favorable, unfavorable recommendation of town council right now, and then you guys can proceed that way. It's up to you. I'll leave it up to you.
So I guess we'll go with the deferral.
So you're requesting a deferral.
Right, so I mean, that's the only thing we really have to nail down is who's gonna fix what, and
I would encourage you to clean up your business plan with things that we've discussed tonight, so it's all concise, just out here in the ether.
right, okay.
Address any concerns you heard this evening with either the building department here or the board here, and then resubmit it as a clean business plan, however you think that should look like based on our discussions.
Okay.
Can you guys do us a favor? Obviously, I'm familiar with what you guys had going on in Crete. Do you guys have any photos that you can share with the board next week, just to give them an idea, or next month, just to give them an idea of what, you know, like I said, what it kind of, the gist of what your lots are.
That would
Like,
help
types
with the
of-
business
Yeah,
plan.
yeah, the types of vehicles.
I have to look, I may be able to come up with something.
Yeah, that'd be beneficial. to
I don't
everybody
know
else.
exactly what I have, but I
Yeah.
think maybe.
We just obviously like a lot of information, so that would
Sure.
help, you know. Thank you.
Mhm.
So you're requesting a deferral?
Yeah, and then, so what do we have to do after that? We get everything together and then do we?
Well, they have to do is come here.
Oh, that's what I'm saying, so we just come next month.
Like the plan that we worked on today, that needs to be quite a bit more detailed.
Okay,
We'll need to get the owner to sign this original application. We'll need them to maybe bring in your agreement with them, maybe have them come in, call the building department so that your parking lot can be inspected along with the fence.
well, Richie did say if we have a problem, he would come with us, so.
Absolutely. Yep. I also talked to them too. So,
Okay.
and then that detailed plan to add everything that we talked about, anything that you're going to change, anything that you're going to do, make it a lot more detailed.
Okay,
Okay.
can we submit that to you and then
Yes.
And then it'll become part of our package.
for next month?
for next-
Okay.
Which is
That's what- Okay, that's good.
June 11th.
So
Okay,
the
So make
petitioner is
sure
requesting a deferral to next month's BZA meeting. We want to have a motion in a second for that.
I'll make the motion, Mr. President, that we defer this matter until next month. To give the petitioners time to get in touch with building department staff and to arrange the property owner to be here for next month's meeting.
I'll second it.
Okay, a motion by Mr. Cupido, second by Mr. Capiro to defer until next month, pending our discussion to allow the building department to come back with recommendations, and for the landlord to be back for the petitioners to update their business plan. Roll call.
Edward Gupta,
Yes?
Jerry Wilkie,
No.
Tom Burrows,
Yes,
Jeff Loney,
Yes.
Barry Baker,
Yes, motion carries 4-1. That will be deferred until next month.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
For
breakfast coming
old business, item number 2, Larson, special use variance. Owner James C. Thorne Senior and Pamela J. Thorne, 16320 Fulton Place, Lowell. Petitioner, Jeremy A. Larson, DBA Full Service Garage LLC, 7412 West 127th Place in Cedar Lake, vicinity of 14101 Flowerman Street, in Cedar Lake. The request is a special use variance to allow the petitioner to operate a full service garage LLC, an automobile repair center, a B3 use, and a B1 zoning district. This is also deferred from the March 12, 2020 public meeting. Counselor.
Mr. President, the legals are in order. They were checked off at the March meeting. They'll be in order. It's a continuation of that proceeding that night. So a public hearing may be conducted the first batch. One additional item, and this is for Jeff. Jeff, this is how it should be. The owners are here. Petitioners.
Thank you. Then we have a petitioner. Go ahead. Name and address, please.
Pamela Thorne, 16320 Fulton Street, Lowell, Indiana, 46356.
Okay.
I'm sorry, ma'am. 1 second, please. There's a letter, we need to procedurally handle this at the start of this proceeding. There's a letter in your file, and I've received a letter from Attorney James Weaver, Thorne on behalf of Mr. Thorne and Mr. Larson. So I wanted to note that he is not able to be here, holding that question in person. These folks know that their attorney of record at the time may not be, I don't know. We'll find it out in a second. Is not here, is not able to be here, which was what the gist of his letter was. So if we could inquire with Mrs. Thorne about that, if you could help us out here a little bit so we don't have any kind of procedural issues with going forward.
Okay, so there is a letter and you have not seen it? Is that correct?
It's here.
Yes,
I'm
it's
reading
here.
it now.
We all have it.
You have it now? Okay. So, and then you also have the letter dated March 25th. That was from Mr. Weezer to Mr. Austin.
Correct.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, and they've seen it?
It's in their packet, yes.
Okay. So, Mr. Weezer believes it's a straightforward legal matter based on the law, as we do, that our business has been in existence since 77, and the new owner nothing is required of him to go forward taking possession of the business.
Chairman, I'm so sorry to interrupt. But that doesn't answer your question procedurally about, we know what's in the record. They're gonna have your stuff in the record, your attorney's information. Are you proceeding tonight without your attorney?
Yes,
Notwithstanding his letter representation, but that he is your attorney.
correct. He is our attorney and we're proceeding forward.
So we will then rely upon his letters and this record as what your attorney has to say, not what you have to say, what your attorney has to say on your behalf.
Yes.
Okay.
I would think that would be both, what he has to say and what we have to say.
His letters will speak for themselves.
Yes.
Okay,
Thank you.
please continue.
Okay, so we're here tonight to find out where we stand with all of this, because we feel like there's nothing left to do, that The business has been in operation for 40-some years, and it will be staying the same type of operation that has been there for all of those years.
So, for everybody here that's listening, tell us about the nature of the business.
It's automotive repair for cars, trucks, and heavy equipment. It's mechanical work and body work. And it has been so ever since the beginning. And that's what we would like to continue on with.
Counselor, can I get a question?
One.
For now, at a time. Is this a change in ownership then technically? Or,
No, it's our legal opinion, and it's been that way for a long time, that this property, if it changes owners, requires this use variance. And I know you know this, are aware of it, at least. There's substantial litigation over the status of the property, use of the property, et cetera. There are judicial orders that were entered as a consequence of several lawsuits about this. So I did not answer Mr. Weezer his first letter. He was instructing me what we were going to do and what his opinion was. There was nothing for me to respond to. The record speaks for itself in terms of the judicial documentation and judicial orders. With regard to use itself, it falls in a category where it belongs here for use variance. And it's properly applied for, in my opinion, and they're properly standing here asking you for relief. I thought it was interesting, as confident as Mr. Weezer was, maybe he's watching, maybe Jim's watching, I hope so. Confident as he was, his third alternative relief sought was, well, if everything else fails, we think it's a good and well-made petition or application for use variance approval. So even in the prayer for relief, if you will, in his letter communication, he has indicated that. So, and he may have done that in the letter today. Let me put my fingers on that. So it's not a mistake. He makes those three salient points, and the third point, he determined dismissal of the petition. Apparently, he makes this in the form of a motion to dismiss. We'll talk about that in a second. Also, that is not what these folks want you to do, I'm sure. But their attorney has made that position, and that's his job. Finally, should you determine the dismissal of the petition is not in order, my clients are required to proceed forward. It is our position that the petition should be granted. It's not injurious to the public. Then he goes through fine. There's no evidence of that, but that's the legal position on behalf of Mr. His taken. So that allows me to
May I respond, please?
absolutely.
The legal problem that he's referring to is from 2004. It was with a tenant. It was not with us. It was a tenant in the property. The town, I'm not sure what all the process was through the town, but the person was fined and, you know, all of that through the town. We filed to get him evicted, and that was done through the courts, which took more time than it should have. But that was nothing directly, you know, concerning us, or he was simply a tenant. And so that was 16 years ago. We have operated in that building ever since without issue or without problem, and prior to him, without issue or without problem. So I'm not even sure what that has to do with us, because if there was a problem with the town in those 16 years since, I think we would have heard something.
And the other thing is the use has not changed. And one of the stipulations was that the business had been closed for more than 6 months. And that is not a true fact. And we have a witness here that can testify to that. And that's the ordinance. It doesn't have anything to do with ownership. It doesn't have anything to do with anything except the use of the building. And the use of the building is not going to change. It's going to be the same identical business, same identical hours that's been maintained. And so we don't see a reason even for the hearing. Because
let me-
all that's happening is we're changing a
I'm gonna-
name on a
hang
piece
on.
of paper.
Hang on, I'm gonna jump in with the details. You say the business hasn't changed. There was a fence there once upon a time along the east border of that property, was there not?
No.
The
There was
east
never, there
border,
was never a
there
fence
is-
along the east border of that
Oh, on the
property?
east border, yes.
Yes, there's
Yeah,
a
there
fence
was-
there now.
There is a fence,
Yes.
privacy fence?
Yes.
Okay, I had my directions crossed.
And the painting that I'm just skipping around here, you have an EPA approved paint booth and all that stuff in there now?
We do, and we have all of the guidelines from the Indiana Department of Environmental Management. Our personal experience has been, we don't come anywhere close to what, to have a state permit. You have to, you have to have above 10 tons of emissions per year. We would have to paint 11,428 cars per year to require a permit from the state. We don't do 100 cars in a year.
So my question was, do you have an EPA compliant booth? And
We
because
do. We do.
because you're not paying enough cars, you can continue to use what's always been there.
No, it was not always there. We
Oh.
had it built and it is compliant. It has exhaust, filtering and so forth.
Okay. Sorry, Mr. Options, I'm just, there's a lot going on here.
Yes, sir.
Just want to make sure that, there's a full record of this. And I don't want to get into it. I say and they say. My suggestion is this, and Mr. Thorne and Westside Auto Body, we're parties to the lawsuit. So, and there was bankruptcy, court proceedings.
Let's correct where that bankruptcy is. Don't imply that it was us.
I don't imply anything now.
Well-
The record's black and white. I can give them the box, they can read it off. I don't want them to have to do that, at least yet. If you acknowledge that they've made their position known about whether they're properly here or not, and that they dispute what happened in lawsuits that have judgments, and proceed with the hearing on the use variance, you might get farther along. Otherwise, we will need the lawyer. There will be lawyering going on, and it's counterproductive to perhaps finding a solution through the course of reviewing the use variance itself. That's a suggestion.
Stole my thunder there. Thanks. Whether I was gonna maybe oversimplify it, whether they think they need to be here or not, to me is irrelevant. You are here. We're treating this like a special use variance like we would have like the last petitioners. We're gonna ask you the same questions. We're gonna hear about your business. We're gonna understand what your business nature is, what the volume is, just like every other special use variance we've had. Taking into fact the information that you provide us. That's maybe an oversimplification, but you're looking to put an automotive repair shop, repair center, a B3 use in a B1 zoning district. I think that's pretty much where we're at. That being said, you started with the nature of your business, automotive repair shop. How many vehicles, how many bays, how many customers,
We have approximately,
10 bays,
10 bays.
half acre.
Yeah, the lot's pretty good size. There's plenty of green space. There's nothing ever torn apart outside. It's always inside. We don't leave anything that doesn't not have plates on it outside. Everything goes inside because it's plenty big enough to do all of that. Do mechanical work. We've done body work in the past.
If you could pull it up on your Zoom, you might be able to get a better look at the property inside.
Yes.
You guys are the current owners.
Yes,
You're selling.
you're selling to Jeremy right here.
Jeremy is the person, is the petitioner, so I think that he needs to explain
Okay.
his business to these guys. When you guys, here is. Jeremy should be, you know what I mean?
That's fine.
Because he's gonna be,
It's
I
fine.
would like to add one more thing. About 2 years ago, on a construction site, and in fact, it was the old Moody House, I had talked to Tim about this same particular issue. And I told him that I was going to petition the town for a straight B3 zone. No B1 and a B3. And he told me that I did not need it because I was already a B3.
All right, can you talk to us about the nature of the business you're performing in the area?
I'm pretty much gonna think we're doing the same thing they are. You know,
Let's pretend nobody knows what they did.
hours of operation, 8 to 5, Saturday appointment only. Spoke with Tim and Michelle about doing some upkeep, paint the building, freshen it up a little bit. Just make it a little more modern than it is now.
All the vehicles for repair, how many are going to be outside waiting repair?
No more than 10.
10.
And outside 10, 10, there's 10 bays inside, so I could keep more than enough than, inside out,
Typically the concern is they're like tires.
cars outside, yeah.
Outside, it's full travel, especially in the summer.
Yeah.
So you're saying 10 cars outside?
Yeah, 10 to 15, say 15 tops.
Outside.
That's customers, employees.
Okay,
Total.
I'm sorry, I was distinguishing between cars ready to be repaired.
No, I'm only one person, so.
This is automotive repair shop, so you're selling any vehicles?
Just repair.
Body work,
Very minimal, if any.
fabrication,
Yep,
fabrication.
a little bit.
Nothing to be stored outside overnight.
Yeah, customers' cars,
They will be, yes.
yes.
Yeah.
If I don't have room in the shop, obviously, I have to put them outside.
Is this only just because of loud stuff you stored outside? Yeah? Oh, I mean the ones that were requested. I don't think that allows storage to be conducted outside either.
automotive repair is a B3 use. It's the B1, so that's my special use.
I understand, but B3 outside storage is not allowed in B3 as it is.
For automobile.
Excuse me, are you asking if it's disassembled or are you asking if it's a whole car?
Oh, either which way.
Because a whole, that's a lot of difference. The
Yeah, either
disassembled,
way.
disassembled.
I mean, B3 zone, all business, service, storage, merchandise display, and where permitted, repair and process conducted wholly within an
market. There's no work on the car.
Okay.
In, as you know, down the street, there is a automotive shop here, for a similar request.
The B3 zone.
That was the B3 zone.
Yeah. Right, for special use. Awesome, yeah.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I'm sorry, can we confirm on the record the zoning district classification then for this property?
Zoning is B1, B1 zoning.
Thank you. So I thought, but it needs to be on the record.
Alright. Any additional signage you're gonna be putting on the building?
Yep.
Additional lights or marquee or anything going out?
No, I mean, just replacing with the old stuff with new stuff, you know?
Are you taking that big sign down? We had talked about that. You taking that big sign in the front down?
Out front, possibly.
When we met, that's a big sign that was out there, so he was thinking about maybe taking that down so that he had enough room to park those
one
two
that's on the
cars.
board.
on each-
Yes.
What improvements were you gonna make to the building and property that you know?
Obviously, you know, some paint the building, do,
Cosmetic?
yeah, cosmetic, you know, blacktop out front, concrete work, sidewalks, you know.
And the parking spaces that you have shown on the survey, those are delineated.
That's just an idea, but yeah.
So they will be delineated. For your improvements. The parking spaces. When somebody comes into your business, is there a parking spot?
Yes, there will be.
That's what delineated, so painted.
Yeah.
Question, are you buying the business in the building or just the building?
The building.
It's a building.
Just the building, not the business.
Correct.
Okay, now my other question was, did that gentleman have a special use variance for B3? Or was it always B1? Because you stated before that he was told that he had a B3. So is it actually a special variance on it now?
I have no idea the condition. All I guess they've been there since the 70s.
May I address that?
Sure.
When we first went into the building, we first went into the building, we applied to the town board for B3. We were under the assumption it had gone through, we were good. And then when we came over to the town hall to find it in the minutes, there was a whole section of minutes missing. And so we never got that, but in all of these years, we have been in their legal non-conforming from the beginning.
All right, I'm just trying to, because I'm confused from a couple months ago when you were here, I thought everything was cut and dry. And then they had a few things they had to come back to us, so I can't remember what they are now, but I know the administrator was here and he was worried about paint smell and this and that. And I'm trying to find out if it's the same business or a different business.
This is different. They asked to be deferred at the March meeting, correct?
Yes, that was a
And then
different one, John.
And then the April one was canceled. So they have not been here. They did not miss it. They have not, just not been.
Mr. Larson,
This is new business?
No, Larson. Larson Thorne, number 2.
you're not painting there. Is that correct? You
Uh,
are painting or you're not painting?
I would like to do my personal stuff, but I mean, there's a paint booth there, might as well use it, right? But no, nothing, you know,
Okay,
like,
and everything that's outside it's stored. You alone,
Everything's,
everything, the vehicles that are outside that are stored. You will own those?
we're saying customers' vehicles inside at all times.
No. You know, our obligations, as Mr. Auctions read, our legal obligations are to, in some ways, make this better than it
Mhm.
was.
Yes.
And I'm trying to pick out the pieces that this is gonna be better than it was. And even better, if we can, than the place up the street.
Mhm.
So my next question is, are you gonna have heavy equipment outside?
No.
None?
No.
Okay.
I have enough room in the shop where
Okay.
if I do have, a Bobcat or something, I'll keep it inside.
All right, but you're not repairing heavy equipment? And you don't plan on renting any of the spaces outside for campers and
No.
trucks and lowboys or any of that other stuff?
No.
Okay.
You're not repairing heavy equipment, or you are?
No,
You're saying
no heavy
no.
equipment.
The heavy equipment's gonna be yours.
Yeah, if-
For storage for your own.
Yeah. I have Bobcat, so I don't know what you consider heavy equipment,
Yeah.
but yeah.
It's about the extent of it.
Yeah.
Is there any comments from the building department?
I would just like it to be clarified exactly how many vehicles at the most will be stored outside so that I can make sure that we can enforce that.
And that's been done with any rethought repair shop.
Absolutely. Right. Yep.
Again, it's a reasonable, enforceable, something that people back. And if that changes, it doesn't mean you can come back to us and say, hey, I need to change where Baker is correct in that is a condition that we normally typically put on for there's
Okay.
6 other automotive listed.
Yeah.
So, we need to know how many vehicles outside.
Basically, what we're looking at is overnight storage, we know during the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're gonna be moving around, right?
But just the amount of stuff that's sitting outside on a daily basis.
If you pull it up on the Zoom, you can see about how many stored outside at night right now.
Right, I know there's many now, but at the same token, if you get 40, you need to have.
No.
that need to be-
This is during the day and there's no car.
Right, no, I know, but I mean, if we don't have a number, we have no.
When was that
It's fine. I think it's 2018.
Reasonable
It
between
is a
that.
reasonable
Yeah.
number to start with, nothing saying that. Hoping you have get bigger
Yeah.
over time, that you can come in and say, hey, I asked for
That's a lot.
5 vehicles.
Yeah.
That's all.
You got 16 spots, so maximum of 10 left out there overnight.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Perfect.
anything else than that, you put aside,
Yeah.
that's fair.
Yep.
Not trying to say you only get one.
Yeah.
We need to have some type of.
Yep.
Regulatory number.
Anything else from the building department?
He's gonna paint the building and yeah.
I mean, he's got ambitions, he wants to buy a property, he wants to clean it up as he can, I mean, he wants to make improvements. Have his career there, I mean, it seems like, I mean, the building is definitely designed for this type of use. It is what it is. I mean, it's been put there many years ago, and it's this type of a building, so.
Jim, you said this building dates all the way back to the 40s?
Correct.
The building dates back to 1949. It was built by a person by the name of Jacob Fleck. One of the first persons to go into that building after Jacob Fleck was Frank Nagy, then Whitey Kersey went in, and after Whitey Kersey went in, Art Jackson went in.
See, I
and bought
remember
the
Art
property
Jackson.
from Art Jackson. And they've all done the same type of work that I did, body work, paint work. Back in the day, they were painting boats and boat trailers and things of that nature, but they did it open air. What I mean by that is there was no filtration system back in the day. And we put in a paint booth and it was designed by Spray Bank. And all the filtering system and everything, lighting system, filtering system, everything was designed by Spray Bank.
Do you still have the paperwork for that paint booth?
I
Required.
don't have it anymore. When it was built in 1984 or 1983, excuse me. And your building inspector at that time was Mr. Urbancic, so there should have been a file on it.
Awesome.
Because he did inspect it after it was done.
Any other board discussion?
Not right now.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you guys have a seat for a quick moment or sit back.
Okay, we're gonna go to remonstrators for old business item number 2, Larson. First, we'll go remonstrators in the room. Are there any remonstrators for or against this variance? Sir, you can come up, please, to the microphone, state your name and address for the record. And you're
Hi, my name is Mike Beaver. I live at 14109 Lowerman Street, right next door to the business. And what I can say about Jim and Pam Thorne, when they're running the business, I've lived there for over 30 years. I've been neighbors with them, have had no problems other than the one tenant that they had that was brought out. When that guy was in there, it was awful. And the town did what they needed to do to take care of that problem. Jim and Pam had him evicted. As far as being a neighbor with them, the traffic in and out of their business, just so you folks feel more comfortable with it, is maybe a couple of cars outside that are dropped off, say after hours. Somebody gets off of work, they need some work done. It's brought in, keys are dropped in a drop box. The cars are brought in the next day almost immediately. The cars have been repaired. Customers come and pick it up. There's been a steady flow of car repair business out of this location. I've brought some of my stuff to them to have it done. The upkeep on the property has always been satisfactory as far as being a neighbor. Never had any issues with Jim and Pam keeping the grass cut. If the lawn service or they couldn't do it, they would come over and say, hey, Mike, while you're out cutting your grass, do you mind buzzing the property? Got no problem with that. Same thing with Jeremy, if there was ever a situation with that. The property has always been kept up. Being in a small area like we are, having neighbors as close as myself and Augie, it's nice to have people there that care about the property and having a service in the community. They've had less cars than the one shop that you guys were talking about to the north, as far as having cars stacked up. Could be, you get a rush where you have multiple clients coming in saying they need stuff done to their cars. So there might be an influx, more vehicles come in on the property, but it's never been more not manageable for them because they have stuff that they're working on that they keep inside the building. So overall, there's not a lot of obnoxious traffic. Or when people are coming into our community with their boats that are outside, like we all know, Lowerman Street. I could have made a fortune given directions to where Toads used to be. And got there cutting the grass and stuff. But, as far as having them as neighbors and having the business there, they kept respectable hours, which was nice. You're not listening to impacts at 9 o'clock at night. They conducted their business professionally. So, these are the only comments. If you guys have reservations about the business itself, it's, in my opinion, it's a safe bet. You know, me living next door, if I thought there was going to be a problem, I'd say, you know, no. But Jeremy's going to come in and continue doing automotive work and given, quite honestly, the rest of us options in our community for a place to be able to have qualified service done to a vehicle. You know, I've got no problem with it. And my property is right there with theirs. So that's all I have for you.
Well, you do understand that why we have to give these particular details.
Absolutely.
And just to avoid overages.
Oh, and for us as neighbors, we appreciate that because you're looking out for what does that do to our property value?
But we legally have to.
Right.
Mr. Roshan stated.
And Augie and I appreciate that, you know, but I'm just letting you know from my experience, other than a couple of rough years with the tenant that was there, you know, it's been a good experience with Jim and Pam, and looking forward to having Jeremy as a neighbor and being able to, you know, earn a living and provide a service for our community. So that's my decision.
Thanks, Mike.
Any other demonstrators for or against this variance?
Hi, my name is August Poppy. Address is 8711 West 141st Avenue. I'm right behind these guys on the west. And I agree with Mike. They've been great. Besides those few years, they keep the building up, mow the grass. Yeah, never really had any issues, you know, besides those few years, you know, that you guys handled. You know, I being on the west side of them, I do get some smells from here and there, but you know, if the spray booth is up to code, I don't know who regulates that. You know, I have no problem with that, you know, I mean, and then they have a used oil burning furnace. I spoke with Jeremy today about this furnace. I do smell something coming from it. I spoke with Jim and he said it's a clean burn furnace. It's supposed to burn everything. Well, I'm not imagining these smells. It's coming, you know. And I spoke with Jeremy regarding this matter, and he mentioned that he could make it higher to stack the exhaust, which in turn would probably solve the problem. You know, but I don't know how that's regulated in, you know, a residential area as far as, you know, what's allowed in a residential area as far as exhaust or like maintain those every 6 months compared to like a regular gas firing furnace. I don't know, you know, but there are some smells, you know, and I see, like, I'm not, you know, like I see the stuff coming out of the stack, so obviously something's being burned, you know. But yeah, that would be my only concerns. As far as neighbors, they were great, and I spoke with Jeremy. He seems great too, you know, and ambitious, and I don't want to stifle that, you know. I want to see him succeed. You know, I bought a house next to an automobile shop, and I know that, and I'm okay with that. You know, just like Mike, you know, 30 years ago, he bought a house, you know, that's fine with me. You know, I'm only concerned about, you know, we playing the blanket back. You know, there's them, you know, like a fall day or a spring day, the weather, you know, he might have to run the furnace and we're out there, you know, and we smell some stuff. So that would be my only concern, is making sure that, you know, that problem's fixed. And after speaking with Jeremy, the new owner, he said, you know, if it's okay with you guys to make the stack higher, and it'd probably alleviate it going to my property and might, you know, but as far as that, that's all I have for you guys. Thank you.
Any other demonstrators for or against this variance?
Seeing none, we'll check outside if there's any demonstrators for or against item number 2. Old business.
Any reminders for
There are no remonstrators
get close.
for or against this variance for this item. I'll ask Ms. Baker if there's anything been submitted electronically as a remonstrance.
No, sir.
I'll wait a little bit, in case anybody wants to send something. Any other remonstrators for or against this variance? Any other for or against this variance? Seeing or hearing none, public portion of this item is closed. Commissioner, come back up. Is there any other board discussion?
No, sir.
I had a couple questions. Mr. Larson, that oil burning furnace, is that a manufactured oil burning furnace or is that a modified oil burning furnace?
Manufactured.
Manufactured. And adding height to the stack is not a problem?
No problem.
Got nothing else right now.
So, Mr. Larson, I just want to pin down a couple points. So we got maximum of 10 vehicles left out overnight, that's what you requested, right?
Correct.
Vehicles. And then can you just go through with me your hours of operation again?
Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, Saturday by appointment.
Anything else, Mr. Cooper?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Did you have any other questions?
No, sir.
Any other board discussion?
I don't believe I have anything.
No, sir.
Any other building department comments?
Yes, sir.
Commissioner? The special use variance, so it will be a recommendation to the town council for full board.
President, I'd like to make a favorable recommendation to the council regarding this matter. I don't think that be injurious to public health. The adjacent property values should not likely be altered. It's an old business, so the condition is not particular. It's the way it was. Don't think it interferes at all with the comprehensive master plan. I would like to apply the following stipulations. Businesses hours are Monday 8 to 5. Saturday appointments only. Smokestack will be extended 8 feet, 10 feet.
I'm gonna have to get somebody out to see what they think and go from there.
Smokestack will be extended after evaluation from a licensed contractor. No more than 10 cars parked outside overnight, and no heavy equipment outside overnight. Finding the fact.
We have a motion by Mr. Wilson, and a second by Mr. Cooper to send a favorable recommendation to the town council for the special use variance to allow the district to operate full service garage LLC, automotive repair center, B3, a B3 use, and a B1 zoning district, with the hours of Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, Saturday by appointment only. No more than 10 cars outside overnight parking. No heavy equipment parking, and and the standards appropriate to include fact.
Who second that motion?
Nick, Mr. Recupero,
Thank you.
roll call.
Nick Recupero,
Yes.
Jerry Wolfgang,
Yes.
John Moore,
Yes. Yes.
Yes, motion carries 5-0. This will be on the town council agenda during the next town council meeting.
Okay.
Thank you.
Business item number 3, Cedar Lake Ministries, use variance. Owner petitioner, Cedar Lake Ministries Incorporated, 15701 Loudon Street. By Cedar Lake, vicinity of 8816 West 137th Avenue. The request is a use variance to allow petitioner to provide ropes activity center on the vacant parcel. This was deferred from the March 12, 2020 public meeting. Councilor Austin.
Needles were in order for this.
We have a petitioner for this item.
There is a letter that was sent to me. They would like to withdraw the petition. Attached in your packet. You want to
Read this letter. Dated Thursday, May 7th. The effects of the COVID pandemic has impacted our ministry in unforeseen ways. We're still processing and coming to grips with it all. Part of this is that the urgency for the venture elements is no longer a factor for us. We'd like to request withdrawal of our BZA petition at this time, since we will not be building until after the PUD is set up. Let it be clear, however, we do intend to proceed with our PUD application or amendment by zoning to that effect. I seek continuance through October for the planning commission to allow us to plan for our summer period of engage our group. It's not even- That is that. Mary has requested that we
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we withdraw this item from our agenda.
I'll second it.
motion by Mr. Bungie and a second by Mr. Welkening to withdraw this item. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries 5-0. New business, item number 1, Riley Developmental Variance, owner petitioner Kevin Riley, 28 North Cottage Grove Avenue, apartment 2N, Brunswick, Illinois, vicinity of 13026 Edison Street, in Cedar Lake. The request is a developmental variance to allow the petitioner to construct an 800 square foot, one-story house with an attached garage, 300 square feet. Councilor Austin.
Legal concern order of public hearing may be conducted.
Thank you. Petitioner.
I'm sorry. Well, what do you want me to say?
Your name
Oh.
and address.
Kevin Riley, 28 North Cottage Grove Avenue, apartment 2N, Glenwood, Illinois. Zip code is 60425.
Go ahead and explain your request.
So I'm moving out here because I have family out here, and currently I'm living in an apartment building that's same amount of space. So my son-in-law, who also is a constructor, we found the property, and the thing is we got all the plans set up, and somewhere in January we brought the plans in, and I believe there had to be some drainage looked at. but then there was a delay. We just didn't hear back. So we finally came in to find out what was going on, and it was misplaced. So I was told that they would look at it that day and get back to me. When we got back to the my stepdaughter's house, I received a call, and the problem was that it was too small. And some of the other houses that are around there are, much smaller because they probably built before, a long time. So we had no idea that there was a problem with the area. And it's only for one person, me. So, yeah. So I would have thought when we first put the plan in, they would see it was too small.
Building department?
The minimum is 11. So it doesn't meet our ordinance for minimum size. So that's why it's second. So basically, I guess up in that area is scrap. There's a lot of cottage type homes that are probably, similar in size without garage. A lot of that garage.
Well, when the property is placed.
I mean, if it's in there, I mean, it's consistent with the area. Sure, it's not on that 300 square foot in a new subdivision.
If he's not requesting any coverage either, then it seems appropriate.
He has a decent sized lot.
The lot's 10,000 square feet.
Doesn't look like there's any other setback issues or lot coverage issues.
Hank, I have a question. There's no setback variances because they're all size of the home garage variance.
Correct.
So all that other stuff will fit the ordinance.
Correct.
Is there any particular reason why you can't build a home to meet our requirements?
Well, first of all, I'd have to now pay out money again to get update the floor plan. Basically, I guess redo the survey. The idea about building the house this way is, so I'm 60 right now, and with the loan that I have, in 10 years, I could easily pay it off so that it'd be free when I retire. So then if I have to go through, get another loan, which I might be able to get, there'll be more money, okay, and then there's going to be more of a delay.
We purchased a lot to build a house on it.
Correct.
And assuming you had a builder draw this up and they were not familiar with our ordinances on this?
Right. The woman that drew up the floor plan and all that, right. She, I guess she didn't know there was any issue because she's done, more like, what do you call it, St. John and other places, not here, like I would say.
Any other board discussion?
Just want to be real clear. The lot's big enough to comply with the rules and ordinances we have for setbacks and everything, right? And keep it one story.
Yeah, mine's pretty big.
Got nothing else, Mr. President?
Any other board discussion?
Nothing right now, sir.
So you have a seat for a brief moment. Demonstrators in the room, are there any demonstrators for or against this variance? Any for or against this
this variance. Moving to outside. Outside, are there any demonstrators for or against this variance? Being that there's nobody outside, there are no demonstrators for or against this variance outside. Ms. Baker, have there been any submitted electronic?
Yes, you do have one letter in front of you from Bob Sexton. I also spoke to him again today, and his comment was quite lengthy, but his comment is asking that if you're going to make an exception for this home on this lot in this neighborhood, could you in the future also make an exception for him on his lot and other homes in that neighborhood? So that there are a few differences. He submitted a letter. He's been given the opportunity to go to the computer or call in or log in. He was gonna try to do one of those, but I'm not sure. Bob,
Yes,
what's that noise?
my bird?
Not you. No, it's not. It's not Bob.
I missed my hearing aid.
Oh. Oh. Oh, it stopped. Yeah.
What am I hearing?
Interference. You don't even know.
Oh.
It is. You go stand there. You need his hearing aid in that control. There you go. They're right there. Then get him here. John, hold your finger right there.
That's not me.
No, it's not you.
That was you. All right, moving on.
Wait.
Mr. Austin, to read this in its entirety or
You can note that it's on file and who the individual is who did it and the date on the letter, and it should be incorporated into the minutes.
Okay. As Ms. Baker stated, there is a letter on record in their packets. It is dated 4/28/20 and signed by Robert Sexton. That was submitted in the. Are there any other demonstrators electronically? Ms. Baker?
No, sir, there is none on the computer, and I do not have any emails at the time.
Other demonstrators for or against this variance? Any other for or against this variance? Seeing and hearing none, the public portion for this item closed. Commissioner, please come back up. Do we have any other comments from the building department? Any other board discussion?
This place gonna be a foundation or on a crawl space slab?
It's a slab.
And there's no existing foundation there now that you're trying to
No,
put the home on, or?
no, it's been a field since 2000. I looked at Google Earth and see, so unless it's been there way beyond, but there's nothing we're putting it on. We're not putting it on top of it.
Okay, you're not putting any kind of existing foundation, piers, structure of any kind?
No.
You mentioned that there's also homes of similar size in the same area.
But none of them have garages, you're or detached or attached garages, correct?
Quite a few small cottages up
My feeling is that there's enough property there to meet the ordinance. And if we allow this, and then like the remonstrator said in his email or letter, then who's to say that, you know, or do we have to allow other houses of the same size if they have enough property to build according to the ordinance? So I would, and I see no hardship here for us to go, you know, other than the ordinance. So I think the house should be, pardon?
I guess the only thing is the area where it is.
The area is not a hardship
No,
to me,
that's the difference, I guess, that I would say.
but the acreage is there.
Yeah, the property's there.
So I mean, if you've got the acreage there, then I think the house should meet the minimum requirements for the house and the garage, which is an additional 300 feet on the house, and 100 square feet on the garage. My feelings.
Yeah, we gave Mr. Ryan the option to either do that or apply for a variance and try this route. So he chose to try this route before he.
Yeah, Mr. Radley, you gotta understand that financial hardship is not something that we can consider. And I wish you would have given us something more.
No.
But so far, all we got is the financial aspect of it. We've been pretty consistent in not approving variance just based off of financial situation. You know? It's a shame because normally we're in here and we got people that have requested putting a big house on a small lot.
Right, yeah.
Kind of refreshing. We wanted to keep some more green space.
Right, yeah. Tim, are there that many pieces of property up there this size?
There's actually one more lot. Next to this lot, these were two houses that were torn down approximately.
Oh, okay, all right.
2013 by the town. They were on the same building.
Gotcha.
So there's not much, there's, yeah, other vacant properties up there. There's another house that was tore down. Just across the street, kind of near that one, but, no. In that area, there's not much.
So this was two lots made into a one lot subdivision?
No, there was another house north of it.
Okay.
And just so I'm perfectly clear, a one-story home, the correct size, with the correct size garage will fit on there with no setback issues of any kind. Okay. Nothing else, Mr. President. I understand the ranch. Nobody wants stairs when they get to a certain age.
Amen.
I get it. But there's enough space. There's enough space.
I have to agree. I think that's I'd have to agree. That's my position too. I mean, it is refreshing if somebody wants to downsize their homes, but you know, if the land is there and there's no other hardships, I don't see it.
Entertaining the motion.
Yeah, so this developmental variance is a board decision.
All right, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we would deny this developmental variance. We do not believe that there is a hardship here that would constitute the variance. Enough to constitute a variance here.
We have a motion. We have a second.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Cupido, second by Mr. Capira, to deny the developmental variance to allow the petitioner to construct an 800 square foot, one-story house with an attached garage of 300 square foot, based on the, based on demonstrating no hardship that falls within our findings of fact. Do you understand the motion, sir?
Yes, I do. So I'll have to just see if I
Roll
can get.
call, please.
Yes.
Gary Wolfing,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, motion carries 5-0.
Oh, thank you.
Business item number 2, Stefanoska, developmental variance, owner petitioner. Olivera,
Good.
6517 West 128th Lane, Cedar Lake, Indiana, in the vicinity of 6517 128th Lane, Cedar Lake. Request is a developmental variance to allow petitioner to have a 12-foot by 23-foot swimming pool 5 foot from the house. Councilor Austin.
Legals are in order, public hearing may be conducted.
Thank you.
My name is Olivera Stefanoska. We live in 6517 West 128 Lane, Cedar Lake, Indiana. We would like to put above ground swimming pool in our backyard. We're limited with the space. Because of all the gas lines and the easement in the backyard. So we had the guy coming from outdoor living from American. So we're gonna purchase the swimming pool. He did all the measurements. We took a lot of options to see what kind of pool we're gonna fit in. He said this oval will fit in, but the only thing that we need to do, we need to move it closer to the house. So that way we can stay away from all the gas lines and electrical lines in the easement.
Building department.
This is the illustration of the previous week, last year. There's like walk through.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no space for.
She would have met the requirements of the 10-foot, but because of the gas and electric lines that are running there, she cannot put it that far back. Those lines are not in, they would need to be moved.
Are they in the utility easement? Or are these?
I have
yours?
not seen the flags. There is no flags on the property, but it appears that the easement is 15 feet. So they must be outside of the easement, is that correct?
Yeah.
It shows on this drawing that it's 5.5 feet from the NIPSCO easement. Is that what I'm seeing? Where they curve around? This pencil drawing?
Yeah.
Yeah, last week.
I see.
Mr. Peter, are you saying we heard this variance request before the past, or we heard several?
It's on the second picture.
I see.
We had a similar situation about a year or so ago. I think Mr. President here will remember the text he got on that one. And it was 5 foot from the house or less. Problem with the pool having to be outside the easement, and we do not allow that. I'm in the same set of mind here on this, is that 5 feet is too close to the house. They have to abide by the easement and NIPSCO and anybody else. rules, they need to abide by ours. So unless she can get a smaller pool and find out some way to get another 5 feet from the house, in other words, 10 feet, I don't feel that we can allow this because of safety reasons.
Yes, but the pool is 12 by 23. If I had another 5 feet, that will be how much? 5 foot pool? That's too small. That's just too small.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I
You know,
understand.
but we have to look at it for what's in our ordinances. The biggest factor here is safety, being that close to the house. For fear of people jumping off the roof or where the heater is or fires or what have you. So we have to look at that. Plus, we had, like I said, we had a similar request about a year or so ago. And we denied that. And then my feelings are that we have to do the same thing here.
What we're looking at here is the old deck.
No, that's existing deck. So.
They're gonna put it next to it.
So the ledger board is what I'm looking at on the house. This pencil picture says old deck and new deck, and I'm trying to figure out.
She's gonna build it.
She's gonna build. The old deck will stay there.
Yes.
And a new deck over the windows?
Basement windows, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Jim,
You have to move. It's like, yeah. You have to.
Right. Yes. Absolutely. Yes. Yes.
But that could be done. And still have these, but you have to spend.
But that's a lot. That's not an option for us, because it's above ground, If it was like in ground, that's another option. But for the above ground, that's too much to move all the lines.
Any other board discussion? All right, now.
I'm with John on this one. We'd all like to have a pool, but just some property. This seems to be one of those situations.
I don't really have anything other than, I guess, without knowing exactly where that NIPSCO gas line is. It looks like from the one pencil here illustration that you do get a little bit farther away from it, going toward the old existing deck. Is that correct? Did they come out and do like Did they come out and do a location?
Yes, they did come. Yes,
did
they put a
come.
flex on. Yes.
That's all based off the location, off of what they marked on the ground.
Yeah.
And those could be, they could be 24 inches off. One way or the other.
They're not gonna guarantee.
No, I know, well, where I'm just saying. Maybe 24 inches in their favor, maybe 24 inches not. Sure.
We do use the building department uses this to locate line as a 5-foot mark because we can't,
That's
what we
absolutely.
use for checking the ORV because
Without digging
that 5 turns, yeah, they're gonna visually dig them up and that could turn in, but we do use the digital markings as our reference.
Okay.
Tim, in your opinion, do you think the way that the hill falls off away from their house, is that a hardship in itself? Even if there wasn't any.
I mean, not really. I mean, it's a lot of back here. This is, I mean, this house has a little bit of room to use, but it's downhill and then not really like. It's not quite as tight as space as the last one, but their request was all the way jammed in these.
good solution to this over there, but every one of them like this.
Maybe we can have a seat for a moment, please.
Do they have another option that wouldn't be quite 23 feet long?
I'm sorry,
Do
sir.
they have another option where the pool's not 23 feet long?
I don't think that's the issue, the length. I think the width is the option from the house.
Right.
The width is
No,
the option, not the
okay.
length.
If the shorter you get, the farther you get away from the NIPSCO line.
That's what Jeff's getting at.
Yeah. That NIPSCO line kind of meanders away from the pool as you go towards the west. So,
But we're still with the electrical line, we're good. 5 feet away, 5.5 feet away. You have to stay away from the gas line and the electrical line.
it just seems like we got a little bit more room as you go towards your old deck.
That's right. Yeah.
She gained 2 foot maybe.
Yeah.
And then it's a wading pool.
Well, but then she's at 8 feet from the house, which I'd be a little more comfortable.
I know.
Well, you know, because the tri-level, you can see on the picture, the base of the house is actually 7 feet. But because we have the second story from the second floor to the pool, it's 5 feet. But from the base of the house, it's like 7 feet. You know what I mean? Because of that slope.
2 foot overhang.
Right. Yes, that's correct.
Yep.
But from the base, actually, it's 7 feet. But from the top, you know, it's come out. Yeah, it's 5 feet. Yeah.
Okay, are there any remonstrators for or against this variance in the room? Are there any remonstrators for or against this variance in the room? Outside of the room, outside, call for remonstrators to this item.
Still nobody outside.
Census is 0 outside. Ms. Baker, are there any remonstrators for or against this variance been submitted to you electronically?
Not at this time, no.
Last call for remonstrators for or against this item. Any more for or against this item? Seeing or hearing none, the public portion of this item is closed. Okay, any other building department comments? The other board discussion?
Sure.
No, sir.
I just have a question. This is R2, right? And so what's the, I'm just for my own knowledge, what's an R2 lot depth now with these new lots being planted out? What's the minimum depth of an R2 lot? Nowadays, 135. 135. This is like 125, 26.
That's if it's a button there, huh? There's a PUD there that can adjust it.
Yeah.
How her house is situated, she does have a decent sized backyard. It's just the NIPSCO line. I mean, they're in the way.
Mhm. And that's her supply run to her house. From the main, nothing.
Right.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate situation, but I kind of got to stick with how we handle the one Fulton County Road, right? I wasn't here for that one, but
That's
It sounds like shortening or making the pool smaller is really an option for you. Otherwise, it's probably not worth the effort.
Okay, this is a developmental variance. This will be a board decision this evening.
I'll make the motion that we deny the petitioner's request for developmental variance per the finding of facts, and that this would be a safety factor. That's where the pool would be located.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Kapura, a second by Mr. Wilkening to deny the variance to allow the petitioner to have a check 12-foot by 23-foot swimming pool, 5 foot from the house, for citing safety reasons and the findings of fact. You understand the motion, Nick? Roll call?
Yes.
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 Yes, motion carries 5-0.
Okay, thank you.
Business, item number 3, developmental variance. Under Commissioner Carol East, 8520 West, 132nd Avenue, in Cedar Lake, in the vicinity of 8520 West, 132nd Avenue, Cedar Lake. The request is a developmental variance to allow the petitioner to construct 720 square foot garage with a 467 square foot loft with a height of 24 feet and half bath for art studio in the front yard of the new lot. Counselor. Thank you. For the petitioner. Hi.
I didn't realize they had the book. Hi, my name's Carol T. I live at 8520 West 132nd Avenue, Cedar Lake. I would like to purchase the lot. Put out some dead trees. And I'd like to build a garage with the art studio. I enjoy doing a lot of arts and crafts. My house is very small, and I like to do sewing. This is a little bag that I brought for. I like to make things.
Third world aftermarket.
I enjoy a lot of crafting. Anyway, I would like to have an art studio above my garage because my house is very small and I have no space for all these things. I have sewing machine, surgery, I have a desk, I have a couple of cabinets filled with crafting supplies, and I have no place to put it. It is currently sitting in a storage locker. And I would have for convenience. To have water supply, clean out paintbrushes and stuff like that.
No.
It's not for a purpose of a business, and it is not for rental. No, I want everybody out. I don't want anybody living with me anymore.
I don't know how them agreements. Great, but you know. Where Mike, garage across the street there, his garage is big. Across the street to the lakes. Large building.
And to be clear too, there's other than the accessory building being technically in the front yard, there's no size issue
issues with the size or setback issues.
Right, it's a food lot also.
The,
Basically, right, the apartment above or
the height.
Art studio.
art studio above is the,
Mhm.
you know, the size and then stuff is fine, it's just the finished studio, heated, water, plumbing, you know, attached to.
The 24-foot height. Her plans are also included in your packet, so you can kind of see how it's a, how she's doing it.
I was working with an architect to draw up the plans to fit within the space that's there and to fill the requirement that I wanted for my little studio. It would be a nice improvement for the neighborhood, for the block. Mike built that wonderful big garage. It won't be as big as his, but it'd be pretty.
So the overhead door, is that gonna face the south? Or I'm sorry, the north, and then
Right,
you're gonna come in off of 131st Lane. driveway?
right, to pull into the garage. And then I also took into consideration that when I pull into the garage, my headlights, if there was windows on the lower part in the back of the garage, the headlights would go into the neighbor's yard. So I requested no windows to be on that lower level because I didn't want to be intrusive to the neighbors. Should they be sitting in the backyard enjoying the summer day or whatever? I want to be respectful to the neighbors, of course. I've taken some things like that into consideration with the design with the architect.
Neighbor's deck is on your property. Is that what?
A little bit, yeah. But I want to make this clear, he did not know it until recently. I did not know it until recently. That deck and fence that's on there was put up there in the 80s. And that owner is long gone. I'm sure there was no permit. He just did it. He's long gone. But now, after I purchased the lot, I had it surveyed properly. And I found out he's about 2 feet over on my side, on the one side, and about a foot on the other side, closer to the house.
So his deck will be 4 foot from your garage. If
Well,
this garage is
I'm
built.
hoping they'll trim it back a little bit before we start. I've
That's
only,
your actual set, Mr. Wilkins, is correct, the actual setback from the structure would be 4 feet, if that exists 2 feet over your property.
Mr. Austin, what's the situation that you came about up with the back here? I know probably can get pretty costly to get in a sticky situation if there's a dispute between neighbors on this, right? Yeah.
well,
Encroachment issues in Cedar Lake.
well, I would like to work it out peacefully. I hope there's no problem.
No, I understand.
I'm not mad at the homeowner. He didn't know it. When he bought the property, it was already like that. So, and I didn't know it until I had the survey done.
I'm surprised that buyer didn't have a survey though. Yeah, that's.
We probably did. It was probably a bank. It was probably a bank survey,
Which call out only the boundaries.
which we see all the time.
So, either way, I agree neighbors try to work this stuff out on their own, but you'd be willing to, whatever your situation is, if you're over to maintain 6 foot, either from your property line or the structure.
Yes.
Wow,
You're twisting my arm, yes.
Wow, that seemed painful.
Well, 6 foot, because when I drew out on my little survey, I know that I have enough room to put the garage, if it's 6 foot from the property line, or if it's 8 foot, I can still comfortably put the garage there and still have enough room for a few vehicles in the driveway. Just trying to make it nicer and make my life a little more comfortable. It'll be improvement for the neighborhood.
This garage oversized. I'm not talking height now, just a square footage. Hard?
No, it's not 720 square feet.
That's okay? Yeah, okay,
It is not oversized.
okay.
864 is the maximum attached drive size.
I'm sorry, did you say attached or detached?
This, I mean, his attached size is 864 back.
Okay.
For the size of the lot, she's allowed, I don't know. It can't be shorter.
And this is stick built, it's not supposed to be building.
Correct.
Why is that roof so high, or why the 24 feet?
Because, pardon me? Yeah, because I wanted the second floor and I didn't want to have like a typical square box with a plain roof. I asked the architect to make it interesting, to make it more appealing for everybody and myself, because I like design. I like architecture. So that's the roof he came up with. If it needs to be shorter, then I'll ask him to shorten it.
Well, you're roughly 10 feet over the height. It's a 14-foot wall, it's a 14.
An accessory structure, 14 foot and less, it's matching the pitch of the house, be taller. But this is kind of a unique situation, but it's more of a,
It looks like a 12-12.
yeah, it's kind of a mix between a accessory building and a house, you know what I mean? It's kind of finished upstairs, kind of similar to, there's one over that just kind of variance over there on, Usman, so the cross street, they got the garage
Bless you.
upstairs, living area upstairs, basically. I don't know whether to call this an accessory, this is just an art studio upstairs.
It's just an art studio. So I can go up there and sew and paint and do my crafts and.
It's basically a two-story house, you know, with the living area, or it's just a unique structure, I guess. It's finished upstairs with the garage underneath. It's unique.
Thank you.
Any other board discussion?
Not right now.
I'm sorry, go ahead. The next petition.
Anything else?
No, I guess I'm relatively satisfied. I mean, I'm like John, I'm not really crazy about the 24-foot height, but
Yes, there is.
Ma'am, if you can have a seat for a moment, please.
Thank you.
Okay, moving to remonstrators for this item. Are there any remonstrators for or against this variance in the room?
Mary Joan Dixon, 8711 West 132nd Place. I just want to speak in that neighborhood. You know, a lot of people are trying to improve their properties. Mike across, he's catty corner from Carol. His is much taller. It's the 4-car garage. It just enhanced our neighborhood a little bit. And more people are trying to fix up that old neighborhood. And it doesn't always fall, just like the gentleman before, into new subdivisions. You know, our lots are 25 by 100 down there. So, you know, I think this would enhance our neighborhood. And I think Carol's got a great design, and I just want to speak on behalf of, you know, I think it'd be a great additive to the neighborhood.
Thank you. Are there any other remonstrators for or against this variance in the room? Any other for or against in the room? Outside, remonstrators for or against this? Anybody outside?
Too dark to see.
Outside. Ms. Baker, are there any remonstrators for or against this submitted electronically?
I have a remonstrator, the same gentleman. He has a letter submitted for the record. I have an email saying that he is going to be asking a question and his hand is raised.
Okay.
Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
Hello,
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes. Please state your name and address for the record, please. There should be a few minute delay. That's why I said that.
That's
Now like 30 seconds for YouTube to get it. Is he still there?
Are you still there, sir?
Pretty much the way it all resumed, unless it's somehow listed. Shows his mic. Not his information.
Mm-hmm. Try to reconnect because we can't hear you. Yeah, it's yeah.
Well, I'll start by reading the letter submitted on May 8th, 2020 by Mr. Robert Hopkins, who I believe is also trying to connect with audio. I would like there to be consideration to the flooding in our area prior to any variance given. My concern is that a new structure will increase the runoff without any heed to what is currently happening. The flooding will worsen. Currently, a tremendous amount of water runs down 131st Lane, down 132nd Avenue along the street. Wherever possible, this water also runs into all the lots along both streets on its way to the lake. This flooding causes my garage to flood each heavy rain as this water comes around and through both corner lots on Polk Street. If my garage is built without consideration of the current flooding, that extra roof will force more water into my lots and less into my garage. I'm also sending this letter to the Public Works Department regarding the flooding, and it's email signature for Robert Hopkins at 13137 Polk Street.
I can't hear anyone in the meeting.
Oh, is that you, Mr. Hopkins?
Mr. Hopkins, are you able to hear us? Sounds like we're still having audio issues.
Almost certainly on his side. Yeah. Okay. I'll be honest.
I'm wondering, there is a phone number listed on the email signature.
Does somebody want to call him and just have him in the speaker and do the same?
Can I do that?
Fine, might go feedback, but it might work.
Mr. Hopkins, if you're able to hear us.
I don't have his phone number.
It's on the email signature.
708-878. Let's see, where are we at? It's on page 35, Michelle.
Mr. Hopkins?
It's on the email signature, the letter that I just read.
35. That was smart of him.
That one?
Yep. Yeah. Hi, this is Michelle. We are on the item right before you. We'll call you right back, okay? Okay, thank you.
I mean, he talks about a footprint for the structure. But if footprint for the structure is.
Oh, this is a problem.
Hi, Mr. Hopkins. This is Michelle from the town of Cedar Lake.
Yes.
Everybody in the room can hear you, so you can go ahead and speak whenever you're ready. Please start with your name and address for the record.
137 Polk Street, Cedar Lake. And do you want to know my concern or what's the question?
Yes, please. Yep. However you feel.
Okay. My concern has to do with the flooding in the area. So right now I sent Michelle photos of today's rainstorm to illustrate the current issue. All the water comes down the hill, of course, and flows into both of those lots, my lots and Carol's lots, and then swirls around to the front of my garage and the water goes into the garage currently. So my big concern is to raise the question of what can be done to rectify that situation, which I think will become worse if there's an additional roof and additional building structure in place. It's not going to divert the water. I think it's going to intensify the flooding. I hope you have the pictures there, but it was quite intense today. So if we're adding 800 square foot of roof where the water can't go into the ground, there needs to be some sort of provision or consideration so that that water can enter the storm sewer system, maybe right at the front of her lot or right there on 131st Lane, to divert some of that water that's coming down the hill and then swirling around to Polk Street and to 132nd, I think, 33rd. When I expanded my house, I did put in 2 drains on Polk Street to take care of the problems of the flooding that came into my yard, but those drains can't help the situation that is in the garage area and on her lots. So I'm wondering if either the town can put in an extra drainage system up by her garage, divert that water, or if her building plans might be able to take into consideration extra drainage so that it all doesn't come down the hill and into my yard. I mean, the water was so great today, it just removed the storm sewer cover, so it was off of the drain even today. So flooding is my concern.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let me know if you can hear us, okay?
At all?
No, not really. I mean, somebody did back into the lake today and disturbed it.
I could hear you better when my speakers on my laptop were playing.
You can try to do that again. We couldn't hear you through the computer.
Okay, that's better. I just turned it back.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we can look into that. I mean, there is some storm drains and also some improvements been done in there. I don't know.
Michelle, can you mute your phone? He's listening through. There you go. Please continue.
Yeah, that's all I have. I mean, we can look at the drainage for sure. But I don't, that is one of the roads that's been repaved and has some drainage on it. So obviously there's some kind of issue down there at the bottom of the hill, which we can look into.
Okay. If I understand correctly, the request for the accessory building is no bigger than what's normally allowed as far as the roof line. Is that correct? As far as the roof line, the
roof area.
The roof area is concerned.
It's actually smaller because if you look at the
We want to finish with this.
You know, if she has, I mean, if you look at the piece of property she has there, it's large enough to build more than this.
But a strip drainage plan will be part of her site plan as far as, she'll have to come up with, this will have to be engineered somehow? Is that what?
Just the elevation of the building. The water will still go in the same place it does currently.
Guess what I'm getting at is, yeah, I'm not denying that there's any sort of drainage issue. I'm sure that there is. However, by her putting in a structure, we can't deny that based off of a drainage issue, can we?
If there's an adverse impact on the adjacent property owner, yes, right. May be a condition.
Because the only reason she's here is because of the height. Otherwise, she could go get a building permit tomorrow and put the structure up.
It's a front yard too, isn't it?
Yeah, we could definitely look into the concerns of the drainage. I have no idea what they are currently. When it rains, we have troubles. When it rains like it did today, there's troubles everywhere. So, I mean, everywhere.
I guess we do need an answer regarding this project exacerbating the issue Mr. Hopkins was talking about.
Okay. Can we ask him if he has additional questions and see if there's any more remonstrators so that we can. Okay, Mr. Hopkins, do you have any additional questions you'd like to say before we end this call?
Yeah, I'm not objecting to building. But I'm
You have to turn down
What
your.
in the world is that?
You have to turn down your
My
computer,
bird.
sir.
That's okay. We're there.
Sorry, that was really loud for a minute.
Sir, can you turn down your computer speakers and just use the phone for this portion, please?
It's better?
Yes,
Much,
yes.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm just wondering if there can be any added drainage, like at the front of her garage, that would drain right into the storm sewer system to prevent the water from swirling around and into my lot.
Yeah, it's something that can be looked at, and we can ask our petitioner if she's willing to do anything or look into that with the drainage.
We could look at it. I don't have an issue with that. Who's going to pay for all this extra drainage? I can tell you what I wanted to say before you asked me that is there is a drain on the side of his garage that is half plugged with mud. And it's been, he and his wife have asked numerous times for someone to look at it. It needs a riser. It needs to be cleaned. He has cones over it. And I have reported it myself. I don't know that it's actually being used properly, the drain. The other concern is it's just a few feet off of the road. The roads are narrow by me. If a car is coming down the road and a kid on a bicycle or walking decides to jump off the road and ends up breaking their leg in that manhole that's not properly leveled, that's been reported and it's still not taken care of. I don't think it's functioning properly. I showed it.
He's been going down to the lake.
If you're going down 131st Lane, right past my property, right, there's a telephone pole almost in the corner of my lot that I just bought. And then it becomes Bob's the gentleman that's on the phone, his property, he has, I believe it's 60 feet. He has 30 feet empty, and then he has 30 feet where his garage is. And in between that space, there's a manhole cover thing there that I believe is a storm drain. I don't think it's properly working. It's been reported a couple of times and still not. I don't know if that was fixed properly or functioning properly, if that would help with some of the drainage.
Sounds like there's multiple things we can be looking into to help
Did you hear all of that?
I'm sorry, I did not know his name.
Okay.
Like a man
All
with
right.
a uniform.
Thank you so much for your.
Probably a ring.
Okay.
Okay, are there any other demonstrators?
Thank you so
for or
much for your
against this?
call. We are going to have to end it at this time so I can take other questions if there is any. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Are there any other demonstrators for or against this variance?
No, sir.
None submitted?
No.
Any other for or against this variance? Seeing none, public portion of the side was closed. Petitioner can come back up, please.
Is this one lot?
There's one lot that the house is on and the two in the rear that the garages are in the rear on another lot.
See where it says number
But is
45?
this,
Yes, it's combined into one lot. Yeah.
it's one lot subdivision?
When it says I think the one that says number 45 is where the garage.
So this new garage, I mean, it really looks cool. It'll be nice there. No doubt about that. Are you getting all the utilities from your house? Or are you running your sewer back out to the street from the garage for the bathroom? I mean, how's all that gonna work?
Well, I don't know. I was told that I could run it from the garage into the house.
Is there elevation for that?
I mean, I would prefer that everything gets used from the house or remains an accessory structure.
Good.
That's where I'm going with my questions.
There you go.
I think they can make it work, one way or the other. I mean, by means of an ejector pump if necessary. I mean, if gravity won't work, they can make it work. I think that's wise to keep it as an accessory building.
Okay.
I was gonna bring that up in my comment too, that it be serviced by the same utilities, just for that reason.
I have nothing else.
No, you just looked like you were fine, ready to go.
No, I just got one comment on the motion that maybe with this encroachment issue, that's with that deck, we want to probably maintain 6 feet from that deck, which may at one point become a property line if you get in a dispute with your neighbor and property has to be bought and sold. So I'd like to make sure that however we word a motion, that we stay at least 6 feet away from the deck.
Or she takes us off and cuts it all up.
Yeah.
Well, she said she would move it to foot.
Yeah, she's
broke
gonna
it, but I
move
have
the
one.
garage, but the deck is still. Or it's
I'm
not
gonna
supposed
ask
to
them
be.
properly
Yeah, but that
to
doesn't
cut it
come into
back
play
so
with
I
us.
can have my property and then later put a fence up there.
Yeah, like either, I guess like 8 feet away from the property line or 6 foot from the deck, whichever is farther from the deck, something like that. Getting late.
Would it be cheaper to move the property line and have him pay for it?
Maybe.
Okay, that's not ours to decide.
Any other board discussion?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay, this developmental variance will be a board decision this evening.
to allow the petitioner to construct a 720 square foot garage with a 467 square foot lot with a height of 24 feet and a half bath for an art studio in the front yard of a through lot. I'd like to also make sure that the building is maintaining 6-foot buffer from either the deck or 8 foot from the property line, whichever is further from the deck. I believe that she has, this property is peculiar, and that's warranting this variance we requested. She has a hardship for sure.
I'll second it.
Yes, sir. You gentlemen want to add no rental, no apartment use?
Sure, I'd like to.
Just talked about earlier in the discussion.
Yeah. I'd like to amend that motion to include that.
I will amend mine to the same.
And obviously we spoke about it and verified that the utilities will be hooked up to the house. They won't be supplied separate.
And I think it's just important to clarify the half bath situation with no shower, no tub.
Right.
I mean, the half bath does kind of, that can kind of limit the future apartment use if it doesn't have.
I got that in the motion.
That was a part of the request.
Yeah.
I will look.
Take a bar
We're
soak to
good.
the lake.
We're good.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Recupero, a second by Mr. Wilkening to approve developmental variance requested to allow petitioner to construct a 720 square foot garage with a 467 square foot lot with a height of 24 feet, half bath for an art studio in the front yard through lot with the following condition: that not becoming rental, utilities come from the house, that the structure remains 6 feet from the deck, and to include the findings of fact. That's the motion. There.
I think so, yes.
Roll call.
Yes.
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 Jeff Leggy,
Yes.
Jeff Piper.
Yes, motion carries 5-0. Also, I think we learned a little bit about some
Yeah, we'll look into that.
that we'll look into that. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
On business item number 4.
Oh, they did it. They raised their hand. Okay, sorry. Sorry. I'm all excited. It's all good.
It's a little thing.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Item number 4, new business, Huffnagel developmental variance, owner and petitioner Robert and Janet Huffnagel, 12807 Alexander Street in Cedar Lake, vicinity of 12807 Alexander Street in Cedar Lake. Request is a developmental variance to allow the petitioner to build a 20 by 24 foot addition to an existing attached garage for a total of 1,056 square feet. No, sir.
Tables in order, public hearing may be conducted.
Thank you. Do we have a petitioner for this item?
Yes, we do. Hello, can you hear me?
Hello, you're live with BZA.
Unmute your microphone.
Yes, the joint audio.
Oh. They tried to call me also. Yeah, apparently. Oh, can I try it again? Try to unmute. What is it gonna say? Hi, are you looking at your computer screen? Does it say, he said try to connect again. Yep. There's no audio. Hear you. Have your speakers unmuted on your computer? Do you have audio on your computer? And it's unmuted. Huh. He can't hear us through the thing. Okay, I'm gonna put you on speakerphone. No. It's so quiet on this phone. Okay, I'm just gonna put the phone up to the speaker, so just say your name, address, and petition for the record. Thank you.
Robert Huffnagel, 12807 Alexander Street.
And tell the board what you would like to do.
Add an additional 20 by 24 attached garage to the existing attached garage.
And then demo your detached garage, right?
Correct.
I'm gonna show a screenshot so you guys can. So here's if you look at the pictures, here's their detached garage and here's their attached garage right here. So they want to attach a garage to the back of this and demo this. If you look at the paperwork, they want to add a 20 by 24 attached garage and demo a 26 by 30 detached garage. So they kind of want to swap.
Mr. Kubiak?
They've been gradually working on fixing this house up over the last couple of years. Last year, they just built the 24 by 24 attached garage. Detached garage is built in a hole and it's in disrepair. They were gonna fix it up and decided rather so I have no issue with it. I mean, it's 64 or 90.
864. It's 1,056. I think it's 1,056.
And they're getting rid of the other ones.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
So.
Would you be looking to put another accessory structure on this property?
No.
His answer was no.
No. Okay, thank you. Is there any board discussion for this item?
No, I don't believe I have anything presently.
Okay, we're gonna look for remonstrators. We'll start with, are there any remonstrators for or against this variance in this room? Any for or against?
Okay, if I lose you, I'll call you back.
Outside, are there any remonstrators for or against this variance? Ms. Baker, are there any reading electronically?
I have no one wishing to speak. No.
Okay, we'll give that a little bit.
Tim, is it your impression that?
Can I finish this?
It's updated and I have no remonstrators.
Okay. Any other remonstrators for or against this variance? Any other for or against this variance? Seeing and hearing none, public portion of this item is closed. Go ahead, Mr. Wilkie.
The existing garage, the garage is going to be torn down. That door faces Alexander, correct?
Correct.
And the existing garage that's attached faces north, that garage door. Okay. And then the building will.
Any other for discussion?
Can you still hear everything?
Mr. Kubiak, anything else?
Is the existing building that's being torn down, it still has stuff in it?
Very little.
Very little, he said.
Very little, okay. All right. So, Mr. Huffnagel, the timeline for tearing the old one down would be how long after the new one was built?
It's actually before the new one is constructed.
Perfect.
Did everybody?
That was a good answer.
Thank you, Bob.
Okay, thank you.
Is there any other board comments, questions, concerns? This is a developmental variance, which is the board decision. We're looking for a motion.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion regarding this developmental variance to allow the petitioner to build a 20 by 24 addition to an existing attached garage for a total of 1,056 square feet, based on the finding of fact, and that the old building be torn down prior to the new building being built.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. We have a motion by Mr. Wilkening, or a second by Mr. Recupero, to allow the developmental variance as requested, to allow the petitioner to build a 20 by 24 foot addition to an existing attached garage for a total of 1,056 square feet, with the condition that the existing garage be torn down prior to construction of the new garage, and to include the findings of fact.
Yes, sir.
Does the petitioner have any questions about the motion?
No.
No. Okay, roll call.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Did you hear that? Okay, everything was passed. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now we're going to open it for public comment. Is there any public comment?
Can one of you make public comments so we can see if we can hear your audio, please? Are you there, Jill?
Any other public comment? Any outside?
Bob, you can still hear us?
Yes, I can. I'm ready to tell you good night.
Yeah, Bob's got it.
Bob, you need to come over here next time.
Seeing none for public comment.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Adjourned at 22:10.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Any
Good
press?
night.
Good night.
Any press?
What do you take, a long way home too?
Okay, now I hear that. Hello?